right, so I needed to pull over for a second because I was listening to a podcast right now, and I really wanted to share my thoughts on it because it kind of upset me a little bit. And I wanted to share my thoughts on it because I don't want this to be misconstrued as fact. And I think it's really important that the world understands the difference. So I was listening to this podcast, very, very influential guest that was on it, very popular entrepreneur. I won't say a name or anything like that, but essentially she was going into the mental health conversation and talking about, how she was struggling, in which she went to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, one of those things. And they pretty much said, okay, you are, do you notice that you have low energy during the weekends also? And she's like, well, of course I don't have low energy in the weekends. Like, that's a dumb question. And I'm just thinking, like, no, that helps to know because you're gathering information. Same thing that you would do during a sale. So number one, that upset me already. Was like, don't consider anything a stupid question, right? Because if you're gathering information, you're giving someone the insight into your brain, into the backstory, just like you would in business, right? You need to ask questions to understand the person. So number one, that's already like, okay, wrong direction. Then this doctor or whatever decided to just throw pills at her and say, hey, go take these pills. You should be good as new, whatever the case was. And she was like, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Pills aren't for everyone. I'm not an advocate for pills necessarily. I'm just saying, I don't always agree with the pill conversation or the medication conversation, but just to straight up just be like, no, this is what's wrong with the industry. She started to rant a little bit, not in an aggressive way or anything like that. She was very just affirmative and very confident in her choice of words with it. And I disagree. And her mindset was along the lines of like, just because I'm going through a hard time doesn't mean I need medication, doesn't mean there's something wrong with me, doesn't mean that blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, okay, but you also went to this doctor and needed help, needed insight, and you kind of just said, that's a dumb question, I'm not doing what you said. No, you have to understand that, like, not every scenario means pills, and I get that. I'm 100% on board with that. What I'm saying is, I don't want this message to be misconstrued because of her level of influence on the world. I do think that you should go to a therapist. I do think that you should do your diligence in research and understanding that this person is either A, not right for you, or B, right for you. And then also on top of that, don't question their authority. The biggest thing that, this is obviously when you find someone that's good, you find someone that's credible, you find someone that is, does good work, right? And it doesn't just throw pills at you. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, the biggest thing that I had to learn in therapy was to let my ego go. I had to let my ego go because I was in the mindset for 10 years. And I say this through experience because through about 10 years, I struggled with my own mindset, struggled with my anxiety, struggled with everything. And I thought that I knew better. I thought a therapist can't help me. I know more than they do. And the truth of the matter is, like, that couldn't be further from the truth. I had to really succumb to the fact that I don't know everything. Like, no question is a dumb question. Maybe I do need medication to help me through this. I was open to the change. I was open to the suggestions and the guidance, which is what I was there for to begin with, right? Don't go into something with a fucking battle and expect to come out feeling better. Like, this is not a shot to her. This is a shot to everybody that's like, fuck yeah, like, that's what's wrong with the mental health community. Yeah, not every scenario is qualifying to be like a pill situation or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. The message is, don't discredit people in the therapy realm, in the psychiatrist realm, the psychology realm. Yes, mental health world is not where it needs to be. That I will admit. And I wish that there was something that I could do about it to make it better. And believe me. But the truth of the matter is, if you need help, find somebody to talk to and talk to them and get clarity on what the problem is. Let them ask you questions, answer the questions, right? As honest as possible. Be as honest as possible, because when you're not honest as possible, guess what happens? You get nowhere. Okay, so don't let this be, sorry, I keep shaking, my arm's getting tired. Don't let this be something that, if you happen to stumble across this podcast, I'm not going to name names, but if you hear it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Full respect out of her. No disrespect at all. Fully respect her work and all that kind of stuff like that. But I had to shed some light on this because it's just not how, that's not how my experience went down. And if I'm a truth of anything that I've ever done, it's that you let your ego aside and you address what you need to address with an open mind. With anything in life, be open-minded, and you're going to see a lot of changes happen. Okay? So I hope that was helpful, guys, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys take that into consideration as well. But don't let anybody, share a quote just because they're influential and mistaken that for fact, because the truth of the matter, it's not always fact. That's one person's belief, and she's entitled to that. That's totally fine. But I don't want that to be a closed-minded conversation. All right? So even the things that I share on this channel, take it for what it is. If you agree with it, great. If you don't, then fine. But be open-minded about it. Think about why you don't agree with it. And this is something I thought was worth sharing because I don't agree with that. And I want to share the fact that that is what's going on in the world right now, is everybody thinks they're better than each other. And it needs to stop. So if we can just work together and not consider everybody in the world an idiot that asks dumb questions, right? So yeah, take it for what it's worth, but I hope that was helpful. See you guys soon.